He asked my abuser parent for permission to marry me. They tried to cut me off, but I escaped and later got proposed with my nan's ring. I was 16 when I got married. Not because I was in love, not because I thought forever meant anything at that age, but because it was the only legal way I could get out without being dragged back by cops or threats or whatever else my parents would have pulled. And he was my best friend. We were both desperate to get out of different kinds of hell, so we made it official, signed the papers, said the vows in a courthouse with no rings and no witnesses, just two kids who didn't want to be controlled anymore. We stayed married through college, mostly for financial aid, shared rent, split bills, lived like siblings, and no, it wasn't weird. It was survival. I changed my last name to his the second I turned 18, not because I loved it, but because it wasn't theirs. I kept it after the divorce because it still felt like mine, not a brand from the people who raised me like I was a possession they couldn't wait to break. When I met my boyfriend, I was 20, and I didn't call him my boyfriend for a long time. It felt childish, like something you do in high school, but eventually I gave in because that's what he wanted. Labels, clarity, everything out in the open. He was 25, traditional, close to his family in a way that made me twitchy, always texting his mom. Sunday dinners, group vacations, the whole smiling pack of wolves routine. I kept waiting to feel jealous or sad that I never had that, but mostly it made me tired. I told him I didn't talk to my family. I said I was estranged. That word, estranged, it sounds polite, like a choice you made because of a disagreement, not like you ran for your life with nothing and had to start over with a garbage bag and a birth certificate. He didn't push. I appreciated that. Said he respected my boundaries. Said he didn't need to know the details. I believed him. I planned to tell him eventually. I really did. I even started writing it out once, thinking maybe if I just handed him the whole story on paper, he'd read it in his own time, and I wouldn't have to say the words out loud. But every time I started typing, I'd freeze halfway through a sentence or start shaking or lose track of time and end up sitting in the dark for hours. Some things don't come out clean. Some things never stop feeling dangerous to say, even when the danger is years behind you. He never asked why. Not really. I figured that meant he understood that trauma didn't come with a script. Or maybe he just liked the mystery. I should have known better. We'd been together about a year and a half when he started calling it 2 years. He rounded up like it meant something, like a milestone he could be proud of, but I always kept the real number in my head. 1.5. 1.5 good years, I thought. He had his own apartment, I had mine, and we'd been talking about moving in together, nothing serious, just stuff like, would we kill each other over the dishes? Or, do you snore? Kind of questions. But I already knew how he was. Predictable. Polite. Stubborn in that kind of way that sounds charming until it isn't. I ignored the signs because I wanted it to work. I liked having someone who didn't scare me. I liked being around his sister who laughed too loud and said what she thought, and his friends who treated me like I was part of something. I liked pretending my past was something I could leave folded in a box under the bed and never unpack. But it never really works like that. You think you're in control until you're not. You think you've got time to open up until someone decides they're tired of waiting. And all the while I thought I had space. Room to breathe. Time to explain everything on my terms. I didn't know I was on a countdown. Back then it still felt like maybe, just maybe, this thing was solid. That even if I couldn't tell him everything yet, he'd still be there when I could. That he'd wait. Turns out he was already making plans behind my back. It was December when it hit. Cold outside, lights in every window, fake cheer blasting from every speaker like the whole world was trying to drown itself in sugar, and I was scrolling through my phone in bed, just killing time while my boyfriend cooked something in the kitchen. And then the message came through. My mother's name, full legal name, showing up in my inbox like a ghost slamming the door open. She'd found me. After 6 years of nothing. 6 years of blocking, hiding, changing numbers, deleting traces of myself from anything that led back to them. She found me. The message said she missed me. Said she wanted to meet. Said she'd changed. Said it was the holidays and family should be together. That was all it took. I didn't even read the whole thing. I threw my phone across the room so hard it cracked the screen and bounced off the wall, and then I couldn't breathe. My chest locked up, arms went numb, legs shaking, the whole thing spiraling fast. I heard my boyfriend's voice, but I couldn't respond, just sat there clutching the blanket like it was the only thing keeping me tethered. He sat with me. Didn't touch me at first, just stayed there. I don't know how long it took to calm down, maybe an hour, maybe 2. I only remember taking the emergency meds from my drawer and feeling like a shell after. He asked what happened, and I told him the message was from my mother. I didn't say what she'd done. I just said I wasn't going to respond. He asked why she would reach out after all this time. I said I didn't know. He asked what happened between us. I said I wasn't ready to talk about it. He nodded, said, okay. He was calm, gentle, quiet in that way that felt safe. For a minute, I thought maybe this was the moment. Maybe I could tell him everything. But my body shut down before I could open my mouth. My throat locked up, brain froze, and all that came out was, not now. He said he understood. I blocked her, changed every setting I could think of. Locked down my account, deleted my bio, changed the profile picture. I felt like I was scrubbing blood out of my own skin, but it stuck in my head. The message. The possibility that if she found me once, she could do it again. That maybe she already had. That week was hell. I barely slept. When I did, I had the same dream over and over. Me standing in a room full of mirrors, and every reflection was her. Her voice, her face, her smile that never meant anything good. I didn't tell him that part. I didn't want him to think I was spiraling, but I was, quietly. He kept checking on me, texting from work, bringing me tea, rubbing my back while I stared at the TV without really watching. I remember thinking, if I ever tell anyone the whole story, it'll be him. That was the week I started to believe he might be the person I could finally trust with all of it. That was my second mistake. Because while I was shutting down, he was starting to dig. I didn't know it yet, but the silence I thought was support was just him biding his time, waiting for the right moment to do what he thought was best. Forgetting that I'd already done everything in my power to escape once, and what he was planning would drag it all back up again. But in that moment, I believed he was on my side. He told me he loved me, said he didn't need to know everything right now, said he'd wait, and I believed him. A few months after the message, after I blocked her, after the panic attack started dying down and I could go a full week without flinching at my phone, we moved in together. Nothing dramatic. He had more space, I had less stuff, and it made sense. Rent was better, commute was easier, and I was still thinking he was patient, still believing he respected the wall I wasn't ready to break down. He brought up our anniversary one night, said we should go somewhere nice, just the two of us. I said sure. I wasn't thinking anything of it. It was one of those weeks where work was garbage and I just wanted a drink and something fried. He booked some overpriced place with cloth napkins and glass water bottles, told me to wear something fancy, which already felt weird. But I went along with it because that's what you do when someone loves you, right? You show up, you smile, you pretend the menu doesn't give you anxiety. He was jittery the whole night, kept touching his pocket. Wouldn't stop talking about his parents, how they met, how his dad proposed, how his mom cried. I should have seen it coming. Dessert came. He pulled out a box. I blinked at it for a second, like I couldn't quite register what was happening. Then he opened it. It was her ring. My Nan's ring. The one I hadn't seen since she died. The one that was supposed to go to me, that mysteriously vanished when my parents handled her estate. It was sitting in a velvet box across from me, like a slap in the face dressed up as romance. I didn't say yes. I didn't even say no. I asked him where he got it. He smiled. Said he thought it would mean something to me. I asked again. That's when he told me. He'd contacted my parents, months ago, after that Facebook message. He said it bugged him, that he needed closure and wanted to understand. He said he tracked them down, met with them behind my back, talked to them, told them he wanted to marry me, and they gave him the ring. Like it was theirs to give. Like he'd earned it. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. All I remember is standing up, grabbing my bag, and walking out of the restaurant without looking back. I got in an Uber, went home, and started packing his stuff into garbage bags. Every drawer, every hanger, every dumb little toiletry he left on the sink. He came in maybe 10 minutes later, out of breath like he'd run the whole way. I didn't speak. I just handed him the bags and told him to leave. He kept asking what was wrong, like he didn't understand, like he thought this was some cute gesture I'd misunderstood. That's when it clicked. He didn't understand, because he never really listened, not once. He knew I was estranged. He knew my family wasn't safe. He knew I hadn't talked to them in years, but somehow, in his head, he thought playing hero behind my back would make him look good. He thought giving me back something they stole would fix everything. But it wasn't about the ring. It was about the fact that he went to them before ever coming to me. He ignored every warning sign, every boundary I'd managed to hold onto, and handed my past back to me like a gift. He left that night confused. I stayed up the whole time, sitting on the floor surrounded by his empty drawers, just staring at my hands. The text started before sunrise. Apologies, excuses, defensiveness. He called me irrational, said he was trying to do something meaningful, said he didn't deserve to be punished for caring too much. His sister messaged too. She was our mutual friend before we ever got together. She was confused, asked what happened, said he was heartbroken. I didn't respond to either of them, because I didn't have words yet. All I had was this hollow, scraped-out feeling in my chest and the gut-punch realization that I was right not to trust anyone with the full story. Because when it came down to it, he wanted my trauma to make sense to him, and if it didn't, he'd rewrite it. I didn't cry that night. I thought I would, but I didn't. I just sat there and replayed every moment where I gave him the benefit of the doubt. Every second I told myself he was different. Every fake sense of safety I clung to. And the worst part? He still had the ring. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I texted my boss and said I was sick, which wasn't even a lie, just not the kind of sick they needed a doctor's note for. I didn't open the curtains, didn't shower, didn't eat, just sat on the couch holding my cracked phone like it might do something other than vibrate with his name every 15 minutes. He came by. I didn't answer the door. He knocked, then waited, then left. 30 minutes later, I saw flowers through the peephole. Roses. A note tucked between the stems. I left it there. I didn't cry until that night. It hit me in pieces. Not loud, not dramatic. Just one sharp inhale and then everything spilling out. Quiet, ugly crying. The kind you don't tell anyone about. The kind that makes you feel stupid for hoping. I knew I had to talk to him. Not to fix anything, that was dead. But to say the thing I never got to say. To make it clear, to get the last word before he rewrote the whole story in his head and told everyone I just overreacted. But I couldn't do it alone. So I called my ex. Yeah, the one I married at 16. The one who helped me escape. We're not romantic, never were, but he's the only person who's seen it all. The only person who knew the full truth without me having to say it out loud. He came over within an hour. Sat down, calm like always, and asked what happened. I told him. The ring. The proposal. The contact behind my back. That's when he told me something I didn't see coming. 6 months ago, right after the Facebook message, my boyfriend reached out to him. Said he was concerned about my family situation. Said he wanted context. Said he was planning to propose and thought it would be smart to know the whole truth first. My ex told him the basics, that my parents were abusive, that I ran because I had to, that if he loved me, the best thing he could do was wait and let me share it when I was ready. He agreed, promised he'd drop it, promised he'd give me space. Then months later, he went to them anyway. That wasn't impulsive, that was planned. He didn't just ignore my boundaries, he lied to the one person I trusted most. I texted him, told him I wanted to talk. He said yes immediately, probably thinking I was about to apologize. He showed up like nothing had happened. Then he saw my ex sitting on the couch and the switch flipped fast. He got tense, angry, said he didn't know we were still so close. Like I owed him a disclaimer. Like support from someone who saved my life meant something shady. He sat down anyway. Arms crossed, face tight. I started talking. I told him what my parents did. Not everything. There's too much for one conversation. But enough. The kind of enough that leaves no room for misunderstanding. He barely blinked. Then he said, "They told me you'd lie." That sentence, just that one, hit harder than anything my parents ever did. He believed them. He thought I was exaggerating. He thought I ran away because I was rebellious. That I made it all sound worse to get sympathy. That I was unstable. That I overreacted. He said I should be grateful he stuck around, considering my issues. That's when my ex stood up and told him to leave. Told him to pack the rest of his stuff and get out. He didn't fight it, he stormed off. Slammed the door behind him. And just like that, it was done. Except it wasn't. Later that night, another text came through. He said he still thought I was wrong about my past, that I'd misremembered, that trauma makes people distort things. Said he just wanted to help by reconnecting me with my parents, like he hadn't broken something permanent. Like dragging my abusers back into my life was a gift. I blocked him. Finally. For real. But that wasn't the end. Because he didn't just take the ring, he took enough to find me again. The next day, my work phone rang, unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, didn't think anything of it, until the receptionist messaged me and said someone claiming to be my mother had called looking for me. Left a full name, asked to speak directly to HR, said it was urgent family business. That was when I knew. He gave them everything, not just my name, my job, my workplace, maybe even my schedule. All the stuff I never let out, all the details I'd been careful with for 6 years, gone in one conversation behind my back. He gave it to them because he thought he was helping. Because he thought I was broken, not protecting myself. Because he still believed the version of me they sold him over dinner while smiling across a table full of lies. I called HR immediately and told them not to put any personal calls through to me, ever. Told them I was dealing with harassment. Didn't say who, didn't say why. Just shut it down as fast as I could. Then I called my ex. Again. He came over with a bag and stayed on the couch for a week. Said he wasn't going anywhere until I felt safe. I didn't argue. I slept with the TV on, a chair wedged under the doorknob. I jumped at every knock, flinched at every ringtone. I used up the last of my sick days, told work I had a personal emergency. I looked into restraining orders, called lawyers, asked what my options were. Not many, it turns out. Not unless they show up in person. Not unless there's a direct threat. And the worst part? They haven't. They're staying just far enough away to not be legally wrong, but close enough that I feel like I'm being watched again. His sister messaged me a few days later. Said she was sorry. Said she didn't know. Said she never would have supported what he did if she'd known the truth. I believed her. She offered to come by. I said no. I didn't want sympathy. I wanted distance. I'm still in that apartment, for now. But I'm already looking for a new one. Somewhere farther. Somewhere they don't know. Every part of this left a crack in me. He heard me say I wasn't ready. Watched me shut down when I saw her name. Held me while I panicked. Sat through every moment of it. And he still went behind my back. Still sat with the people who hurt me. Still smiled at them. Still believed them. And that ring. That stupid, cursed ring. I don't want it. Even if he tried to return it, I wouldn't take it back. Because it's not mine anymore. It's part of the lie now. Part of the choice he made. And it's the one thing I can let go of without mourning. Everything else? I'm still sorting. Still bracing. Still waiting to feel safe in my own skin again. But the ring, it can rot in that box. He tried to fix me by dragging me back to the people I barely escaped, and now I have to clean up what he broke. Start over again. Find new walls, new locks, new ground. But at least now I'm not confused. There's no question left. No maybe, no hope.